When it comes to IRL streaming, most people immediately think of Ice Poseidon, a name nearly synonymous with the genre. This controversial figure has been at the center of countless discussions. He is regarded as a trailblazer for the unique content he pioneered, while at the same time he is also credited with jumpstarting the careers of many individuals he collaborated with, many of whom remain active to this day. But looking deeper into his success, it's hard to ignore the many disturbing incidents he was involved in, raising the question, at what point do a person's actions stop being entertainment and become a matter of ethics? In hindsight, the empire this devious streamer built eventually grew beyond him, ultimately leaving him in the dust. Some of the people he initially introduced to streaming are now at the top of the food chain, while he has been relegated to the margins. The story of Ice Poseidon is a caricature of many tragic elements found in classic literature. Elements like betrayal, love, deceit, anger, lust, and inevitable downfall. It's almost funny how the flaws of humanity seem to be always consistent regardless of the culture or period we choose to examine. Whatever the case may be, one question still remains. How did Paul end up here, and what does the future hold for him? It is easy to look at his current situation and conclude that things are not going too well. A combination of a shattered reputation and years spent cultivating some of the internet's worst audiences has unfortunately placed him in a very precarious situation, forever clinging to that last fragile thread of relevance that keeps him moving forward. While the complete saga continues to unfold, let's take a look at the history and examine one of the internet's most popular streamers. But before we get to that, I would like to say that this video is sponsored by no one.
Today what I'm gonna do is close the door on the guy who owns this house as part of my closing the door in old school RuneScape series.
The video you are currently watching marks the very first upload on the Ice Poseidon YouTube channel. In stark contrast to the highly exaggerated and flamboyant persona of the IRL streamer we recognize today, these early videos are much more subdued, offering a look into simpler days.
For anybody who's good farming will understand that a basket of tomatoes is actually very useful for paying farmers.
Behind these clips is the then unknown voice of Paul Denino, a young man who had a deep love for RuneScape since the age of 12. Paul undoubtedly experienced a tumultuous childhood, shaped in large part by his struggles with social reclusiveness and autism. These challenges made it difficult for him to connect with others, often leaving him isolated in a world that didn't fully understand him.
I mean, I was just, I was just always misbehaving. So they probably just, the doctors probably told him that I should get some medication to help me with my issues, right? I just got to a certain point when I was younger that I was always angry all the time because I couldn't ever express myself and I had zero validation from anyone.
This sense of loneliness also made him a target for cruel bullying from his peers.
So there was this one time, and I think it was like 7th grade or something. There was this teacher who was really popular, and she was pregnant. And I was in class and, I didn't want to do my work. She came up and she started like scolding me about not doing my work. And I'm like, I don't really want to do it. And then she started getting cramps or something in her stomach. And I think she ended up, I think she went to the hospital because she had to like leave. So after that, when the bell rang, the rest of the kids in the class just made up this rumor that I'd killed her baby that she was pregnant with, which obviously wasn't true, but for the rest of the year I was just known as baby killer.
Oh my god, dude.
by the entire school.
His difficulty in understanding social norms also created a strained relationship with his teachers, as he often found himself at the center of many incidents at school. Jumping between various medications in an attempt to manage his escalating behavior definitely didn't resolve the issue, since he was angry all the time. The situation had gotten so out of hand that at one point his parents made the decision to enroll him in a camp designed for troubled teens when he was just 14 years old. Despite facing many challenges, Paul managed to find solace in a widely popular MMORPG called RuneScape. In this virtual world, he not only immersed himself in the gameplay, but also began connecting with online friends, offering him a sense of belonging that was tough to find in real life. His love for the game was so profound that he often spent all of his free time playing it, further reinforcing his introverted nature. Funny enough, RuneScape is actually the reason we know Paul by his online moniker Ice Poseidon. The name came from a random name generator he used when creating his account at the age of 12. It is also important to mention that at one point he used another online alias called LeanIce44. During a phase when Denino was deeply invested in bodybuilding, he frequently posted updates about his muscle gains on a bodybuilding forum under this username.
So what happened? Why'd you stop working out? Because I cut my thumb off, dude.
Yo,
That's why.
So he injured his thumb. He almost cut his thumb off, or he chipped a piece of it, which made him and led him to stop working out. I'd understand if he had to take time off to stop working out for a little bit, but he stopped working out completely. He went from this right here to this right here.
Over time, his passion for bodybuilding diminished, but his enthusiasm for RuneScape was as strong as ever. The game remained a significant part of Paul's life for many years. Eventually, he completed high school and enrolled in college to study finance. However, he only earned an associate degree before deciding to drop out. During this period, he worked various jobs before securing a position at an Italian restaurant. In 2015, a 20-year-old Ice Poseidon uploaded his very first video to YouTube titled Old School RuneScape Closing Doors, where he, as you can guess, closed doors to disrupt other players' activities.
So right now I'm just closing the door. People trying to get in. Oh, fuck you.
This marked the start of his journey as a content creator and was the first in a series of videos where he engaged in various pranks associated with the old school RuneScape. The initial popularity of these uploads was minimal, but he did manage to gather a small audience. During this time, Ice transitioned to streaming on Twitch, as the platform offered a more interactive environment with real-time viewer engagement, which aligned better with his style of content. It's important to mention that there was a serious problem with this change. Twitch was heavily saturated with gaming content, making it extremely difficult to gain traction. Ice Poseidon overcame this obstacle by featuring appealing activities such as hosting drop parties and organizing clan wars. He would even engage in gambling sessions where he staked large amounts of gold. However, his most successful strategy was participating in fake Deadman mode player killing events. The reason I labeled them as fake was because Deadman mode had not yet been released, but Paul used eye-catching and false stream titles to attract more people and encourage them to watch his content. By combining all of these strategies, he increased his stream viewership from 30 to around 5,000 in just 6 months, quickly becoming one of the most popular RuneScape creators on the platform. With a newfound audience came a significant boost in his income, prompting him to quit his restaurant job to focus exclusively on streaming. This period also saw the creation of many terms associated with Ice, which would continue to define his identity well into the future. For instance, he named his fanbase the Purple Army, a reference to RuneScape where players appeared as purple dots on the minimap if they were part of his clan's chat. Another iconic term was CX, which wasn't related to RuneScape, but instead emerged as a playful representation of a smiley face that viewers often expressed using letters. He even encouraged his audience to use this symbol as a way to promote himself. Before long, CX was being spammed on anything related to RuneScape, whether it was other people's streams or forums. Thanks to this incredible growth, he even took part in Q&A sessions at RuneFest later that year, an event regarded as one of the largest gatherings for the RuneScape community.
My name is Ice Poseidon, and I just kind of do whatever on RuneScape, whatever happens, you know. Don't really know what I'm known for, but I just go on RuneScape and chill.
While enjoying his newfound success, the darker side of his fame soon reared its ugly head. Many of the aspects that initially helped Ice gain popularity would eventually become a huge problem for his future as an online figure. From the very beginning of Twitch, the platform faced a significant issue with many users constantly spamming racist messages in an attempt to provoke reactions from streamers.
No. It's not yours, it's a different one. Nice, dude. You got me.
This created a toxic environment that required a high level of intervention, especially for larger streamers who attracted bigger audiences and, consequently, a greater volume of comments. Unlike most other users on the platform, Ice Poseidon's streams became notorious for having little to no moderation. This was particularly problematic as he allowed viewers to play any song they wanted through donations.
Alright, so I'm just killing some you know,
Oh my god, man. This is...
The lack of oversight eventually led to members of the audience attempting to exploit the system by playing songs with offensive language, hoping to get him into trouble. Initially, Ice Poseidon tried to ignore the derogatory donations, but after receiving his first 24-hour ban, he began to realize how much of a threat these messages posed to his Twitch account. As a result, he decided to implement some moderation in order to filter what could be played on stream.
No, we got this, homie. Come on.
Hello Ice.
Come on.
I'm poor and don't have enough money to donate and ask you for this.
Okay.
But I got perm banned accidentally when everyone was spamming racist things in the chat. Could you please unban me? My name is...
Yeah, dude. Oh my god. On videos like that, I always have my mouse just chilling on the pause button just to make sure. And dude,
Despite these setbacks, his popularity on the site continued to grow exponentially. He even began exploring different genres of games to diversify his audience. This continued until July of 2016 with the release of the mobile game Pokemon Go. Ice would exclusively stream himself catching Pokemon on the streets and engaging in playful interactions with many bystanders.
I'm streaming myself play Pokemon Go.
How old are you?
21, dude. How old are you?
Got money, dude?
I'm on stream right now.
How come you got braces and your teeth still buttery?
Because I don't brush my teeth.
Although quite primitive at the time, this type of content began appearing on various platforms, laying the groundwork for something that would later be recognized as IRL streaming. While the concept evolved gradually over time, Ice Poseidon's influence played a significant role in its rise. These types of videos became a cornerstone of his content, shaping his streaming style into what he is known for today. It's clear that Pokemon Go served as a catalyst for his future success, since people seem to enjoy his interactions with others more than the gameplay itself.
Songs out there. Can I play one song for you?
You're a DJ.
Real quick.
Hey, are they alright? Are they good? Are they good?
Dude, this shit's straight fire.
This is straight fire. You about to show me this mixtape?
Give me a
Yo, everybody, we about to show this mixtape here. Yo, what's up? Yo.
His focus on real-life streaming significantly increased his audience, as he was averaging around 20,000 viewers at a time. Drawing in such massive numbers, this format eventually became his primary content focus. Behind the veil of success, Ice Poseidon continued to face issues with certain toxic members of his community who were intent on causing disturbance. At one point, his fans managed to locate the restaurant where Paul had previously worked and bombarded the business with negative reviews on Google, effectively destroying its reputation overnight. Things escalated further during one unfortunate stream where he jumped into a pool as a part of a lost bet. While he was in the middle of his bath, he was bombarded with offensive messages that he couldn't moderate in real time. The incident resulted in a 1-week ban, the longest he had ever received at that point. Situations like these eventually forced Ice to impose even stricter controls on what his audience could play while he was live. In his own words, he wanted to give his viewers the opportunity to express themselves, but trolls consistently took advantage of his platform, leaving him with no other option. In December of the same year, Twitch introduced the IRL streaming category, designed specifically for broadcasting real-life activities. At that point, Ice Poseidon had already made a transition to that style of streams, fully abandoning the Pokemon Go format that had previously dominated his content. However, in an unfortunate twist of fate, on the very same day the IRL category was released, Ice accidentally leaked the phone number of a girl he had met during a stream. This incident led to a significant backlash and resulted in a 40-day ban from Twitch, making it one of the worst consequences he had faced up to that point.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, like, how, like, I'm guessing it's a month, but I don't know if it's a month, you know what I mean? They said they would get back at me, so, you know, and yeah, that's fine. I don't know. I was just trying to get I just wanted to get the girl's number, man, for the stream, dude. Thought it'd be good content, but I mean, it is, and I just forgot to mute it, so that's my fault.
Despite the harsh punishment, Ice Poseidon remained determined to continue streaming, but this time he decided to go all in. At the start of 2017, he made a major decision to move out of his parents' house in Florida and relocate to Los Angeles. There, he lived with his childhood friend Voldesad, who would eventually start streaming as well. By many measures, this move was one of the best decisions Ice could have made, as his streaming career skyrocketed following the transition. He capitalized on this opportunity by live streaming his daily activities, providing viewers with an unfiltered and immersive glimpse into his life. Adding to the attraction was the fact that these streams were very unpredictable, featuring spontaneous and entertaining interactions with various strangers. He also began forming connections and streaming with other people, one of the most notable being comedian and actor Andy Milonakis. This collaboration led to Milonakis becoming a recurring figure in the IRL streaming community. In return for gathering a fairly large audience, Ice began earning a significant amount of money from his online career. This was evident when he showcased his earnings just from donations during one of his streams.
What do you mean, dog? How much do you think I make in donations a day?
You make 11K a month.
Yeah, and how much do you think? How much from that is actually from donations? Do you think? Most of that is from sub count, dude. All right, so this is actually this is an unordinary month. So $6,600 last month, and that's mainly because of this $2,500 donation that I got. Typically, this is not a typical month. So let's go back to, like, you know, December or something. Hold on, January.
Don't show how much you make from subs.
I don't. So that's, well, that doesn't count. 4,500 in donations for the month of November, with a 599 subs and 11,000 follows. That's
You got a 2K donation?
Yeah, so that's an untypical month.
Saying that there's people out there that want to kill people like us.
Think we're
Like the cringe god. People want to kill the cringe god. I mean, I'm being honest here. You're not that bad. You don't think I'm that bad?
With the immense fame came a slew of stream snipers, all of whom seemed drawn to Ice like bees to honey. One of the most well-known examples from this time would be a man named Andy Martin, who consistently followed Ice Poseidon around by tracking his location through his streams. He was highly determined in this endeavor and quickly became a popular guest. At one point, he even claimed to know Ice's full address and threatened to leak it online.
I know where Ice lives. Exactly an apartment number. Will you guys follow me if I went to his house? You can't just come uninvited.
Actually wasn't.
Who invited you?
Voldesad invited me.
Is this true? Who invited you?
He just said he was downstairs.
You just came. You said you were downstairs and you just came, and that's okay?
Yeah, sure, pretty much.
I did not give him.
Despite many uncomfortable and cringe-worthy moments this guy caused, Paul developed a liking for him and allowed him to stick around. Even though he was Guatemalan, he eventually earned the nickname Mexican Andy, a term coined to distinguish him from Andy Milonakis, since they both had the same name. This would actually spark a trend where various personalities who gained traction by appearing on Ice Poseidon streams adopted a moniker combining something associated with them and adding Andy at the end, even if it wasn't their real name. This trend was originally created to describe leeches, and if you don't know, a leech refers to someone who appears on stream with the intent of gaining attention and followers for themselves. However, Ice kept them around because he believed they would provide meaningful content. With so many people engaging in this behavior, an entire army of Andys quickly emerged online. Some of the examples include Asian Andy, Arab Andy, and Tracksuit Andy.
Excuse me, ladies. Don't think so I didn't see you guys looking at me and smiling, okay? What's your names? What's your number?
In the end, this was an uncanny example of how Ice Poseidon managed to turn some of his stalkers into a source of entertainment. But many of the people that were watching him had entirely different intentions. His community became widely recognized for its extreme toxicity, something you could easily notice while watching his streams. In early 2017, one of his followers even showed up at a restaurant where the team was eating and sprayed a fire extinguisher.
Yo, what's that? What are you doing? Yo, what are you doing, bro? Yo, dude, what the fuck are you doing, dog? What the fuck? Bro, what the fuck? Bro, oh my god, I'm dying.
There was also this humorous incident where a restaurant Ice Poseidon was dining in started receiving numerous prank calls from his viewers. This prompted the manager to act like a gangster in an attempt to throw the streamer out.
Hi.
I'm getting about 30 calls about you on my phone, and I'm a gangster. So you better fucking leave here right now before there's trouble with yourself. You understand that? You're fucking with the mob over here.
Many uncomfortable moments like these posed serious headaches for Ice, but nothing can compare to what comes next.
The news, Phoenix police searching an American Airlines plane at Sky Harbor. Police say an anonymous threat was called in. That threat wound up being not credible.
Not even 4 months after his 45-day ban and subsequent move to Los Angeles, Ice found himself at the center of a serious and alarming scandal. While at an airport, he accidentally revealed his flight number, which led to him being swatted by a viewer who made a false report to the police, claiming that one of the passengers was carrying a bomb. This act of swatting was not the first time fans had attempted to disrupt Ice Poseidon's streaming career. However, this particular incident crossed a line, as it resulted in a large public outcry. Unlike previous pranks that mainly aimed to inconvenience or embarrass the streamer, this swatting attracted significant media attention. The severity of the situation and the growing controversy ultimately led Twitch to take drastic measures. The platform decided to issue an indefinite ban on Ice Poseidon, permanently removing him from its community. In response, he decided to switch to YouTube for streaming, as it seemed like the most logical decision at the time.
Oh yeah, the interesting news that I was talking about, that I did post on Twitter about, YouTube actually did invite me to a VIP section of VidCon, and we are going to talk about how to create YouTube Live and make it the direct competition to Twitch.
It is important to highlight that this was a big change, especially given how different the two platforms are in their approach to live streaming. What's more, this was just a drop in the bucket when it came to his problems, because over time, swatting had practically become a tradition for his community. In 2017 alone, Ice was swatted approximately 6 times, and this is just the cases I know of.
What's up, guys? We're good. Everybody, hold on, let me full screen it real quick.
Most, if not all of these incidents were being caused by the same person, but the responsibility for these attacks was largely placed on his audience by outlookers, and soon that audience would be labeled as one of the worst on the internet.
Hold on. I'm having a panic attack because of that over there. Dude, please don't be for me. How you doing?
Have something to do with this?
With what?
Come here. Get up and come over here. I'm not playing with you. Get up and come over here.
Okay, dude. I haven't been mentioning it, but they're still doing it.
Your car?
No, my apartment has been swatted 4 times today.
What's interesting is that even though he was involved in many incidents like these, Ice still genuinely enjoyed streaming, so he continued to do it with no signs of stopping. In the end, the transition to YouTube didn't hinder his success, as he regained his old viewership and soon grew an even larger fan base. This was further highlighted by the connections he established with various people, some of whom he collaborated with on streams from time to time.
Football field. If he spends
That was really entertaining.
he'll be fine.
Backflips. Went outside one time.
Killed yourself doing
Because, a week later, a bodybuilder died on stage trying to backflips. I haven't done it since, dude.
Good, don't.
One notable aspect of Ice Poseidon is how he transformed from a closed-off introvert to an overly extroverted individual in a very short amount of time, especially given how easily he engaged with people on the street. Unlike many other streamers, he had no problem with strangers approaching him, and he even encouraged an open door policy, inviting anyone to come to his home and participate in his live streams. This soon evolved into a trend where every aspect of his life had to be broadcasted, whether it was his relationships, travels, or even casual walks down the street. Understanding what made these streams so popular requires observing the countless outrageous and sometimes disturbing moments Ice managed to capture during his travels. Much of this stemmed from his uncanny knack for being in the wrong place at the wrong time or bringing chaos with him. In one instance, viewers recognized a shop he was in and called the owner to annoy him. When Ice tried to explain that it was just someone on the stream attempting to be funny, the owner reacted by threatening to beat him up.
Is that what that is?
I mean, I don't know why. What did he say on the phone? Yes. See, like.
No, come closer. Let's see what he says.
I don't want to hear what he says.
Hello?
I'm scared. Advice?
Yeah, if you're on this block again, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You hear me? People are calling saying horrible things.
Okay.
Referring to you. You're going to have.
I know.
Stop it. You're going to have a very big problem if you're seen on this block one more time. I'm the boss of this fucking block. I will get you fucked up on camera. You will not be able to live stream ever again.
Alright, sorry, dude. It's not. Sorry.
If you think that was shocking, consider the time he encountered someone attempting to take their own life by jumping off a building.
What's going on right now? What's going on right now? Maybe it's a prank. It better be a prank. I kind of want to watch to see like the police tackle him, but I don't want to get banned, yo. Yo, thank you, see ya. Thanks. He's trying to kill himself? It looks like it, yeah.
Perhaps the most unsettling aspect was that Ice seemed more concerned about whether he would get banned than about the person who was on the verge of dying. Chaos, anarchy, and destruction became the hallmark of the content people came to associate with Ice Poseidon, a fact he understood all too well, to the extent that, if he couldn't find it, he would make it himself. This brings us to the two important streams that sparked a serious debate about the boundaries of self-exploitation for donations and clout. At what point would Paul draw the line and decide that something was too extreme to be shown online? That's a question for you to decide as we delve into the first stream I wanted to show, where Ice chose to sleep live on air while fully keeping the song request donation feature active. Considering the good-natured humor of his audience, it's easy to guess how this turned out.
Last night, I had a horrible dream.
By the end of the stream, Ice had collected around $5,000 in donations, sending a clear message that this was the kind of content people wanted to watch. In response, he hosted another sleeping stream with even crazier conditions, and since this is the kind of shit you have to hear to believe, I'll let Ice explain the rules.
I am going to attempt to sleep on stream with my address completely out there on the internet in the description of the stream. I set up a few donation goals to change it up from last time to see how much we can actually make. $50, and we play on the original concept of the stream and its song request. We have $100 for a very close paintball shot to my body. $200, and I will be tased.
Given what's at stake this time, I'm sure his audience will be much more cautious when donating money, as the last thing they would want is to cause significant physical harm to their favorite stream.
Oh god. I'm sure they see it so they know it ain't no fucking fake shit. Oh fuck!
Happy 20 sponsors, bitch!
Why does it smell so bad? What is that? Paintball wound.
Lick 'em up! Lick 'em up! Thank you!
How am I gonna sleep in this? There's Doritos all over my bed. I might just end it here, to be honest. I can't take it anymore. I didn't think we get so many donations, dude. I'm gonna throw up, dude. I'm just physically sick.
Around 5 in the morning, a shaken ice would end the stream after a night of relentless torture. For all of his trouble, he managed to earn another $5,000 in a single night, a nice bonus to the $20,000 he typically made each month on average, highlighting just how popular he was at the time. Moments like these contributed to his reputation as a controversial online figure, as almost nothing seemed off limits when it came to creating content. Keep in mind, everything we just discussed took place in 2017 alone. In just 1 year, Ice had accumulated a full portfolio of scandals and questionable decisions that would have likely driven a normal person off the internet. A lot of the reasoning behind his actions he would discuss in his very first full-length interview on the No Jumper podcast, offering some insight into the mind of one of the most popular streamers at the time. In all fairness, despite the mayhem, Paul often tried to show the person behind the facade by opening up and sharing emotional side. At one point, even Ice became aware of the cynical nature of his audience, and at times lashed out as seen in this video.
All because my parents had money doesn't mean I was fucking happy, okay? Like, people don't understand that. The relationship with my parents was very, very bad. I lived with my parents, but I would talk to them like once a week. We didn't have a good relationship. All cause, yeah, we were living in a nice house in a gated community, but I was sad, I was depressed, I had no relationship with my parents, I had no friends. I literally had a horrible childhood growing up. I was bullied severely in school with no friends. And you're telling me because I lived in a gated community, I should be fucking happy and my life wasn't shit? Come on.
In moments like these, people catch glimpses of the real person behind the persona of an over-exaggerated streamer. I have no doubt that at times he resented the job and the popularity that came with it. However, the IRL stream grind was in full force with no signs of stopping. Neither for him, his friends, nor his community.
Okay, chat, we don't need to do a fucking drug test. Okay, I do coke, chat, like, there you go, fucking, who needs a goddamn drug test? Like, I'm just gonna say it, I admit it, I do coke, I've been doing coke for years, it's cost me $2,500 every fucking week, okay? I buy an 8-ball, I get fucking high as shit, and then that's why I stream, and that's why I do stuff. I haven't had coke for the past month, that's why I've been fucking feeling like shit, okay? You can clip this, you can put it anywhere, I don't really give a shit. There you go, dude, another drug I know, we're not, like, we've done drug tests every fucking time.
2018 brought new drama and challenges. By many margins, it was a year of even greater growth for his brand and online presence, but at the same time, it was also a stepping stone for the tragedy that will soon unfold. It began with Ice Poseidon tweeting about his breakup with Caroline, a woman widely disliked within the community for various reasons. Whether it was due to her behavior or the fact that Ice repeatedly attempted to conceal their relationship, the fans simply could not stand her. Even though he made this announcement, he continued to secretly date Caroline, leading to a series of new scandals and confrontations between the two. This all culminated in the Horseshoe Bay incident when Ice Poseidon invited a group of friends to a resort. He also invited Caroline, but kept her presence a secret as his audience believed they were still broken up. When he accidentally revealed her on camera, viewers discovered her identity, and Ice attempted to create a narrative that she was stalking him, leading to a huge fight between the two. It was later revealed that he was also sleeping with Kay Bubbles, a friend of Caroline's, meaning he was dating both women at the same time. Naturally, much of this drama was streamed live, providing endless entertainment for his audience.
You can't hear your fucking sponsor. I'm changing my Twitter. Yeah, it's fuck, okay?
Can we please talk alone?
No. No, you don't deserve
Jackson Andy, get a nice close up.
You don't deserve
What up, Reddit? You all hear the 100%
Get a close up. The only way to make her leave is to make her uncomfortable. Just come here. Just get in her face.
The scandal ultimately resulted in Ice Poseidon being banned from the livestream fail subreddit, which was a big blow considering it was one of the major sources for his new viewers. Despite these personal troubles, his influence and reach in the streaming community were unmatched when you take into consideration that he was drawing in an average of 14,000 viewers per stream. Beyond his own content, Ice played a pivotal role in fostering a network of creators who collaborated and streamed alongside him, further expanding his impact. With the rise of these collaborative efforts, two prominent networks associated with Ice Poseidon were established, the CX network and the IP2 network. The differences between these two are somehow confusing, but I will try to clarify. Firstly, there's the CX network, created and directly controlled by Ice Poseidon. Its purpose was to centralize personalities who were associated with him or produced similar IRL content. In a way, it served as a platform where fans could easily discover new streamers within this niche, fostering a community around interactive streaming. On the other hand, the IP2 network is a bit more ambiguous to me. From what I understand, the IP2 network was not created by Ice Poseidon himself, but by fans and former members of his community who broke away from the original fandom. The reasons behind this split aren't entirely clear. Some suggest that fans became frustrated with Ice Poseidon's behavior and decided to go their separate ways. Others argue that the split occurred because they disliked Ice Poseidon's move towards moderation and restraint, preferring instead to preserve the original edgy and chaotic ethos that defined his early content. In short, the CX network was Ice Poseidon's centralized, streamer-focused project aimed at promoting personalities tied to his brand. Meanwhile, the IP2 network is a fan-created independent community that evolved from the CX network but now operates without Ice's influence. Over time, IP2 even grew highly critical of his later career choices.
You are totally turned on.
I'm turned on.
Yeah, are you turned on? What?
I'm not.
No? Well, not like...
But whatever the case may be, there's no denying that, at the time, Ice Poseidon was at the top of the world, and everyone wanted a piece of his success. What many might not fully grasp is just how many streamers he helped launch during this period. One notable example is the case of Hampton Brandon. Initially an unknown figure, Hampton accidentally stumbled upon Ice Poseidon on the street. This chance encounter marked the beginning of his rise to prominence, as he became a frequent guest on streams. He quickly became infamous for his confrontational style and unpredictable behavior.
Whoa!
Even Miskif, now a well-known YouTuber and Twitch streamer, began his journey connected to Ice, serving as his cameraman at the time. Among all of these people, one person stands out as particularly important to the story, a figure with whom Ice Poseidon frequently collaborated in 2018.
Uber driver, the guys in the bank just robbed a bank. That's why they are looking behind them.
Do we look like bank robbers?
Paul gets 30 seconds. Come in, mommy. Come in, mommy. Come in, mommy. CX.
Out.
Out.
This individual was none other than Sam Pepper, a disgraced YouTuber who first gained recognition as a contestant on the 11th season of Big Brother. Pepper later became highly controversial for his prank videos and faced widespread backlash in 2014, following allegations of inappropriate behavior and harassment. As a result, Paul faced considerable criticism for associating with someone so provocative. But none of that seemed to faze him, as both creators continued to remain closely aligned. While at the beginning, the entire network gained remarkable popularity for its active engagement, text-to-speech donations, and real-time interactions, over the time it developed a notorious reputation due to the behavior of its members and their involvement in various incidents. Whether it was creating absolute chaos in apartments and getting kicked out, having confrontations with bystanders, or occasionally being involved in swatting events, drama seemed to always follow them around. Sometimes Ice would simply sit in a restaurant only for constant prank calls from viewers to prompt the manager to throw him out, even though he technically hadn't done anything wrong.
I'm gonna get some. Get out here. Get out here.
What's up?
Get out here. Right now.
Okay.
This your shit?
Okay.
To provide more activities for his audience and streamer colleagues, Ice organized an RV trip where he live-streamed their adventures on the road. This trip was so deranged that you could easily dedicate an entire video to the subject. The group was completely unhinged and out of touch, to the point that it's a miracle they're somehow still alive. And when I say this group, I'm referring to his congregation of well-adjusted individuals such as Anything for Views and Hampton Brandon. Oh yeah, Sam Pepper was there as well.
That's what you want to say? Are you serious, man?
Essentially, it was a TV show that showcased the journey of people with barely any social skills trying to navigate the real world. If you think that was bad, just take a look at this period when Ice also ventured into the trend of streamer houses, where he invited various friends and fellow content creators to live and collaborate under one roof. These streamer houses became a hub of activity, centered around the personalities and interactions of its many residents. By creating a shared environment, Paul hoped to generate a steady stream of live content filled with unpredictable moments. However, his ambitions soon took a downturn as serious problems began to emerge, ultimately souring the entire experience. To give you an idea of how bad the situation was, the group caused so much chaos that they were eventually evicted from one of these houses in LA. It also didn't help that these houses were inhabited by various shady individuals like Only Use Me Blade, a heavily alcohol-fueled machine known for creating the trend by the name of killing yourself for views on YouTube. On top of that, he had no sense of how to behave in a social setting. If you were to visit this hub of so-called professional streamers, this is the kind of disorder you'd encounter. Absolute anarchy and an endless search for content at any cost. The open door policy I mentioned earlier, an integral part of Ice's persona, eventually became a burden as random people began showing up constantly to interact with the team. This disregard for personal privacy ultimately led to one of the wildest moments ever captured on camera, highlighting the genuine risks of exposing yourself to complete strangers.
Hi. The door's open, yo. What's good, man?
The door's open.
It is.
And you just walk in.
I rang the doorbell so much. People were saying just come in.
You don't just walk in someone's house and they don't answer the door, dude.
I don't know, dude.
During one stream, an unknown individual entered Ice's room uninvited, sparking an uncomfortable interaction.
To do what? Why are you in LA from Toronto?
Fuck you, Angels, Kimmy. Bro, this bitch, 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. I went in her community 1 month after she flew to Toronto to meet me. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? She started sending me all these signals, all this shit. Time goes by, she said she's invested in this shit.
The man turned out to be a deranged stalker of a female streamer named Angel Skimmy. For reasons that defy explanation, he had flown all the way from Toronto to Los Angeles just to meet Ice and deliver an unhinged rant live on stream.
Like, what's the deal with you, with her?
Oh man, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know what you're going to, I don't know what.
So let me try to understand here. So you were giving her essays and like what, and like you were messaging her and shit.
This girl was like,
she like doesn't want to fuck. Back. She doesn't want to meet you or something. So she talks to you because you're a viewer, and then when you actually come to where she lives, she's like not talking to you.
No, like okay, when I talked to her at first, she came to Toronto to meet me after 1 month. Oh,
she said she loves you.
She said that shit. But, like, at this point, it's like, I don't know if she was fucking with me, bro.
Even Ice, who was usually quite adept at dealing with strangers, reached out for his taser, clearly sensing how uncanny and potentially dangerous the situation was. Viewers in the comments were quick to warn him to keep his distance from the man, even sharing screenshots of Discord messages the stalker had sent to the female streamer, revealing just how unhinged he truly was.
Yeah, bro, because I talk about fucking...
Confront him for this post he put in Discord a few days ago.
People don't know all this.
Don't worry, I won't rape you. I'll just kill you and throw your dead body in a forest.
That's fucking Photoshop. No.
I'm trying to kill every single person on this planet.
Okay, I don't... Kill everyone, hail Satan. Yeah, bro, hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Holy, it just keeps getting bigger, partly, constantly. What is...
Okay, this is probably... I do recognize a bunch of these.
Thankfully, this video is still available, meaning that the man has enough evidence to support his insanity plea in the court of law if the need ever arises. Some might say that Ice fully deserved this outcome, as it was the very culture and community he had cultivated. Coupled with the relentless swatting incidents and the constant turmoil that seemed to follow him wherever he went, it was clear that he wasn't exactly in his prime. And what did he have to show for it? His views were on a steep decline and he was left operating with a skeleton crew of streamers, a far cry from the peak of his success. By this point, the CX community was under immense scrutiny due to years of scandals. It also didn't help that some streamers associated with Ice Poseidon seemed to engage in unofficial speedruns to see who can get into most amount of trouble in the shortest amount of time. One of these participants was Arab Andy, who went to the University of Washington and received a text-to-speech donation that made it sound like he was threatening to set off a bomb.
C4 has been successfully activated. Bomb detonation countdown successfully started.
This little incident resulted in him being jailed for 7 months and serves as a perfect representation of how this community was perceived by the public. After being evicted from his previous home, Ice rented another mansion designed for streaming at the start of 2019. In many ways, it was his last gambit to regain some of the past popularity. So, how did he fare in this endeavor? Well, first off, there was this odd moment when he tried to run a company based on a model that resembled a blatant Ponzi scheme.
In order for the investors to make their money back, what we do is we grow the company to a certain point, and then we have other investors come in, and obviously they invest their money as well, hopefully more than $2 million. And then obviously when we get more than $2 million invested, the other investors will get their $2 million back, and then we have more money for the company. And
even Destiny made a video calling him out, claiming that he was running a scam.
Did you see the Ice charm on the front page? Yeah, oh, Ice. He's literally describing a Ponzi scheme. And he doesn't, he's like, listen, okay, it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's just I've got big investors, and I'll pay them back with the money that I get from later investors. It's like, that is a Ponzi scheme.
Ice, however, defended himself, insisting that he wasn't doing anything wrong. I wish I knew more about this topic, but almost all the videos and posts discussing it have been erased. Him explaining his business model was just a re-upload of the original video, which had over 500,000 views before it became unavailable. Many people speculate that Paul himself is tracking down these videos to cover his tracks. Interestingly, I also came across a clip where Keemstar defended him.
I just wanted to clarify because business can be confusing, especially to young people, but ICE is not running a Ponzi scheme. Let's use McDonald's. So the first McDonald's branch starts off and there's a lot of hype, a lot of customers, it's going pretty well. So McDonald's goes and gets a loan, or they get investors and they open even more McDonald's all over the place.
During this debacle, Ice was still trying to create content at his new home, and it's widely recognized that these streams were some of the worst he has ever done, thanks in no small part to the absolute geniuses he allowed into the house. We also can't forget to mention Ice Poseidon's manager, a man by the name of Scuffed Steve Jobs. This guy was so petty and manipulative to the point where the majority of the fanbase begged Ice to get rid of him. His constant self-promotion came across as arrogant and out of place, especially considering he wasn't even the primary streamer, but someone who should stay behind the scenes. This period also marked the first time Ice Poseidon himself faced significant backlash from his own community, reflected in the negative comments and dislikes on his videos. This was largely due to the numerous bizarre and disrespectful moments, such as his cringe-worthy Butler audition. In this event, he gathered some of his fans under the pretense of offering them a chance at a streaming career, only to completely humiliate them for content.
Oh, this is very nice.
I will give you a kiss on your knees, huh? Something to drink? There you are. No, right? All right.
Are you feeling a little parched, sir? Do you need a drink?
Yeah, can I have some tea?
This stunt was in extremely poor taste, which generated even more hatred from his viewers who criticized his treatment of the very people who supported him. Meanwhile, another segment of his audience dismissed the streams as boring, further fueling the discontent. The streak of terrible streams didn't last long because, believe it or not, less than 2 months after moving into this streamer mansion, Ice Poseidon was raided by the actual FBI in March of 2019, and by many margins, this event was the turning point.
A bunch of edibles, and they kicked in like at 4 in the morning, and then I was like sitting in bed fucking freaking out.
You probably have a lot of questions as to what's going on right now, why I haven't streamed in a while.
It's difficult to fully describe the impact of the FBI raid on Ice Poseidon's career, as many view it as a pivotal moment that permanently altered the trajectory of his online presence. The incident remains somewhat shrouded in mystery, leading to many conspiracy theories circulating online about what exactly happened and, more importantly, why it happened. As I present the available information, it's important to note that much of it is speculation, as no definitive answers have emerged since I was unable to uncover conclusive evidence or any official explanation for the events surrounding this dramatic moment. According to members of the CX network who were present at the time, the police removed everyone from the house except for Ice and one other broadcaster. Additionally, they confiscated all the computers, but the reason behind the raid remains unclear. Initially, it was speculated that the raid occurred due to fake bomb threats, but later on, this theory appeared to be untrue. I found online that Ice himself later claimed the police accused him of stealing church funds, and allegedly they connected him to the crime through a spoofed IP address. While information coming directly from Paul shouldn't always be taken at face value, further investigation into the matter suggests that this is the most plausible scenario. However, there is one particular conspiracy theory that has garnered significant attention from many people. Before I tell you about it, I'd like to thank the YouTube channel IRL Moments for compiling this information into a video that helped me better understand the situation. So, this story starts with Bone Clinks, a content creator who runs CX News, a program covering events and updates related to the CX network. He claimed to have insider information about the story and the reason behind the FBI raid.
I've got information from people that have contacts within police departments that say that ongoing investigation for a long time against a DJ and against Ice Poseidon.
This is the point where a streamer named Daniel Jason Panzer, or DJ for short, enters the story. DJ was initially invited to Ice Poseidon's streamer house in Florida in 2018, but he never got along with anyone. Especially after he got drunk and said several things that soured the relationship between him and Ice Poseidon.
Oh
Why'd you say shit like that? Like, why'd you say all this stupid shit? You know I bought your plane ticket.
No, I know.
You know I loaned you the money for this fucking rent.
I know.
The two simply didn't see eye to eye, and DJ was eventually removed from the network. However, months later, he returned to visit ICE in hopes of mending past grudges, but his efforts were unsuccessful. The main reason for the hostility towards him was his reputation for leaking private information about other streamers, something nobody in the house took lightly. During this interaction, Ice Poseidon's infamous manager, Scuffed Steve Jobs, inspected DJ's phone for any private information that might pose a threat to the group. At one point, he considered smashing the phone but ultimately decided against it after realizing it was just a prepaid device and not DJ's personal phone. It was suspected that some members of the CX network believed DJ possessed private data that could potentially be leaked, which might explain their aggressive behavior. This incident was apparently tied to the time in 2018 when Ice Poseidon lost his phone, with DJ reportedly being the one who stole it. Again, allegedly, a few weeks after the encounter with Scuffed Steve Jobs, a friend of one of the CX members attacked DJ and stole his phone. Following this encounter and the general mistreatment he experienced within the community, DJ decided to go to the police and later released a bombshell of a video. In this clip, he revealed that even the phone that was stolen was merely a decoy. He claimed his real phone, which he had hidden, did indeed contain a substantial amount of incriminating evidence against the CX network from his time at the Florida mansion, including private Discord chat logs.
Also on this phone is my fucking black box. My black box is a file that's encrypted, and it has every single text, Discord call, and everything made inside the Purple Army Discord and every other Discord, and everyone's usernames and their addresses and everything. But it's physically on this phone.
He also handed this evidence over to the police, alleging it was enough to put Ice Poseidon behind bars for 20 years. In the same video, he even accused Paul of orchestrating the robbery to retrieve the phone and the information on it. Not even a month after this announcement, the FBI raid occurred. The odds of these events being mere coincidence seemed extremely low, suggesting there was indeed something on the phone that could seriously implicate ICE. In short, this is the theory, and in all honesty, it seems completely bogus. Especially considering that the primary source behind it, DJ, is a delusional and mentally unstable person who consistently contradicted himself in later videos after the FBI raid. Also, Bone Clinks claiming to have insider information on ongoing investigations sounds unbelievable and quite ridiculous. In summary, we simply can't say for certain what actually happened. What we can say for certain is that the impact of this incident on Ice Poseidon was devastating, and this was most apparent in his video addressing this situation.
You probably have a lot of questions as to what's going on right now and why I haven't streamed in a while. I'm here to give you a rundown of everything and the future plans and exactly what we're going to be doing and what's going to be happening here.
To begin with, he revealed that unless he obtained a filming permit, he was forbidden from streaming in LA, a major issue considering that streaming was literally his career. After reflecting deeply on his life, Ice decided to leave Los Angeles and shut down CX Network entirely. He stated that he was trying to focus on himself and had largely abandoned the idea of his network, which had been focused on developing other streamers within his group. Due to his newfound notoriety, those same streamers began distancing themselves from Ice Poseidon as much as possible to avoid the impending fallout. For better or worse, even his friendship with Sam Pepper fell apart. Almost overnight, Paul lost nearly all of the members he had collaborated with. By many accounts, this was the decisive blow. What could he possibly do to stay in the game after something like this? Well, if we were to ask Ice Poseidon, the next logical course of action would be to purchase a military truck for $70,000 and take another road trip with the remaining streamers who were still around.
This is so uncomfortable. I want to die right now.
The absolute disaster that was this road trip is almost comical, but for all the wrong reasons. Let's start with the fact that this $70,000 abomination wasn't suitable for long-distance human travel, making the ride extremely bumpy and uncomfortable. Not just for the streamers, but for the viewers as well, given how much the camera was shaking. At one point, even Ice realized how ridiculous the entire situation had become. He was tired, and he simply had enough.
But this is better than an RV.
It looks cooler. Functionality-wise, it's miserable.
At the same time, to avoid any trouble, the streamers made every effort to restrain themselves, not wanting to cause a scene or stir up issues. As a result, many labeled the streams as boring and likely stopped watching. The entire event almost seemed like an ironic representation of Ice Poseidon's fading career, a bloated corpse begging to be put out of its misery. To distance himself from controversy and finally focus on his mental health, Paul made the decision to tone down his behavior. After everything that had happened, some speculated that he would quit streaming altogether. However, even though he took a long break, he continued creating content, most of which consisted of IRL streams where he traveled to various countries, including Japan, Italy, and even Chernobyl in Ukraine.
Oh yeah, you can hear the radiation, yeah. Yeah, somebody's got one of those things over here.
These videos were receiving significantly fewer views and donations, but at the same time, there was notably less drama surrounding them. He also moved to Austin where he would settle, and from mid-2019, Ice began streaming on Mixer in hopes of distancing himself from his past notoriety and building a new, more accepting fanbase.
So for the past month and a half, I've been streaming on a platform called Mixer. It's, you know, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but it's just a different kind of experience and a different sort of like more individualistic platform.
The unfortunate truth was that even Mixer wasn't ready to roll out the red carpet, as he struggled to secure a partnership with the platform, something that could have significantly boosted his income. In the end, it didn't even matter, since Mixer shut down in June of 2020, largely due to its inability to compete with other, more established giants, despite having secured some of the biggest names in the streaming world. This left Ice in an incredibly uncomfortable and uncertain position. The most obvious option would have been to return to YouTube, which he eventually did for a short time, but he absolutely despised that platform. His frustrations stemmed primarily from its lack of features that supported content creators like him, creators who thrived on interactive, community-driven experiences that YouTube's structure simply couldn't provide. Faced with limited options and a growing sense of desperation, Ice decided to make a bold move to regain some semblance of control over his career. In a heartfelt and carefully crafted apology video, he addressed Twitch, the platform that had originally given him his success. By publicly expressing remorse and taking accountability for past controversies, he hoped to convince Twitch to reconsider and allow him to return to the platform.
I've learned a lot over the past couple of years as a streamer, and with experience comes maturity, and with maturity comes a different mindset, and my mindset now is completely different to what it was 3 years ago.
Ultimately, it was all in vain, as he never received any response from the site. Left with no other options, Ice continued streaming in the hopes that things would eventually improve. This marked one of the quietest periods in his otherwise tumultuous career. The days of drama, exaggerated personalities, and chaotic antics were behind him. But so too was much of the attention that once made him a prominent figure in the streaming world. Ice Poseidon's relevance, once undeniable, was fading day by day. For all intents and purposes, he was operating on a vampire shift, working mostly alone and far removed from the spotlight he once thrived in. He kept producing content, dabbling in gaming, IRL streams, and even occasional gambling sessions. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months, and before long, 2021 quietly came and went. It was a year marked by stagnation, with the future looking grimmer by the day. Yet, in this bleak and uncertain moment, Paul made a pivotal decision. He refused to fade into obscurity. He wasn't ready to be forgotten, and he wasn't content with leaving things as they were. What Ice truly needed was a way to reclaim his notoriety, to make the world remember him once more. And with that mindset, the stage was set for what happens next.
Save the Kids was a crypto charity coin, as many of you know, that turned out to be a scam. It was promoted by some of the biggest influencers in the world, and for the past few weeks, Barely Sociable, Mudahar, and myself have been working to uncover the truth of what happened.
During 2021, Ice Poseidon's ex-best friend Sam Pepper found himself embroiled in the now infamous Save the Kids debacle, a supposed crypto charity coin that turned out to be nothing more than a blatant pump-and-dump scam. Keep in mind, this wasn't just some small-scale blunder, it was an egregious betrayal of trust, as those involved lined their pockets with massive amounts of money under the false pretense of helping children. The sheer audacity of this scam was astonishing, as it roped in some of the internet's most well-known personalities, including people like Rice Scum.
I just got the handbag. Yo, that's a $10,000 handbag. Yo, $10,000.
What made this catastrophe even more galling was its origins. You see, the project was initially backed by some members of the internet's favorite prostate cancer masquerading as a gaming organization, the FaZe Clan. Save the Kids was a disaster that reflected the absolute worst of online culture: greed, deception, and a complete lack of accountability. As this train wreck unfolded, Ice Poseidon stood on the sidelines, and he probably thought to himself,
"Impressive. Very nice."
In July of 2021, he launched CX Coin, which was his very own cryptocurrency project that he marketed heavily as a community-driven, transparent token.
I'm the founder of CX Coin. My name's Paul Denino, otherwise known as Ice Poseidon. And I decided to make a community-driven token that I'm personally going to be a part of.
The coin was sold with promises of complete openness and clear progress at every stage of development. Despite these assurances, the project was met with skepticism from the very beginning, given Ice Poseidon's past remarks about being willing to pool the money if he ever ventured into cryptocurrency. This created an immediate red flag for many potential investors, but Paul worked hard to fix the negative public perception by making various promises about his commitment to the coin. However, behind the scenes, despite his assurances and smooth talk, Ice was ultimately more interested in securing his own financial gain than building a genuine long-term project. In January of 2022, it was revealed that Paul had withdrawn over $500,000 from CX Coin's liquidity pool. This action effectively killed the coin and left investors with substantial losses. If the term rug pull wasn't clear enough, what Ice did here was precisely that: an unethical and in many cases illegal action. A rug pull in cryptocurrency is when the creator of the coin or token siphons off the liquidity, effectively stealing money from investors and leaving them with worthless assets. In this case, Paul's actions were nothing short of betrayal, reducing what could have been a legitimate endeavor to just another example of a crypto scam. As you can imagine, the backlash was immediate and louder than ever before. This time, it wasn't just his community voicing their frustration, but also some of the most prominent figures in the YouTube world. One of the most important videos on the subject came from the content creator CoffeeZilla, who exposed the entire scam in all of its shady, dishonest glory.
And what Ice Poseidon did, using the fact that he created this coin, he rug pulled 90% of that from his community, which meant that that's $300,000 that his investors would not be able to get back out.
He even included a revealing Discord call with Ice Poseidon himself, where Paul was brutally honest about the project and his true involvement. The jig was finally up. The final nail in the coffin came when Ice admitted to having taken the money and, more damningly, stated that he could return it but simply wouldn't because he was more concerned with looking after himself.
I don't know why you're acting like it has to end with like you being the bad guy here. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. I'm trying to like get you to return the money because it's 100% still available and you could do that.
If you want the answer, yeah, I could give the money back. It is within my power. But I'm going to look out for myself and not do that. I don't like know what else to say. That's just the most honest answer.
This moment was the breaking point, the point where the facade was completely shattered. It spoke volumes about who Paul really is as a person, revealing what truly matters to him. His community, the people who had supported him, were nothing more than a means to an end. The promises he made about caring for his fans were nothing but empty words, smoke and mirrors meant to distract from his true intentions. In the end, why would he return the money he stole from the few people who still believed in him after everything that had happened? I feel like the truth is obvious. Ice Poseidon never had any genuine concern for his audience. They mean less than nothing to him. And this entire situation laid bare this very unfortunate fact. All the talk about loyalty, commitment and transparency was just a facade, and now there was no hiding behind it anymore.
With the whole CX coin thing, right, and then the CoffeeZilla video and the way the CoffeeZilla interview went, it kind of like at the end of it, you get this vibe of like, oh, Ice just said, yeah, I did it, so what type thing, right? Whatever that may be, at the end of the day, I feel like the one thing that might come out, or the thought that might come out to a lot of people who watch that video is like, Ice does not care about his viewers.
I think that's a funny statement because I definitely am the content creator that has cared the most about his viewers out of any content creator. I don't know any other content creator that let viewers show up to his house, come into his house. I put everyone on that came over. So I think that's funny that people like CoffeeZilla come up with those narratives because that dude literally like would never leave his house to talk to his fans the way I did. There's no way.
In some interviews, he even blamed gullible people for investing in meme coins as it were their fault for not realizing he was running a scam.
People that have knowledge on shit coins, because I guess you could buy it if you don't know shit, but then you're a moron. And that's not really my fault, but everyone knows how shitcoin works. You know, it goes up and then it goes down really quick, really fast. Like, it's just a gamble, bro.
Later that same year, it was announced that Ice Poseidon would take part in a boxing match against Brandon Buckingham, broadcast on DAZN, a global sports streaming service. His performance was widely mocked online, with many attributing his loss to a lack of boxing experience and insufficient training. This didn't seem to deter him as he participated in another boxing event just 6 months later. By this point, it almost seemed like everyone had forgotten about the major scam that made headlines earlier in the year. Beyond his reputation troubles and high-profile incidents, he continued streaming his regular content, most notably his travel vlogs showcasing visits to various countries. This approach was not without its challenges, as the novelty of such content had begun to wear thin after years of stagnation in his viewership and creative output. In October of 2022, the controversial streaming platform Kick entered the scene, quickly gaining attention as an alternative to sites like Twitch and YouTube. It became known for its more lenient moderation policies and willingness to host edgier content creators. By May of 2023, Ice Poseidon officially switched to Kick as his primary streaming platform, embracing its looser restrictions and the opportunity to push boundaries in ways he felt were no longer viable anywhere else. Recognizing that his laid-back, travel-focused streams were no longer enough to sustain or grow his audience, Paul seemed to double down on controversy as means of staying relevant. This brings us to the notorious Thailand stream, where the group faced the full repercussion of their actions.
I wanted to come with something different, right?
So in the back.
Show your thought.
No. And the first day when he arrived, he's like, man, where's the lady boys? We gotta record some lady boys. We gotta find some lady boys. And so I said, you know what?
Let me show up.
I'll be his fucking lady boy tonight, dude.
Ice, accompanied by his girlfriend Kim and 2 fellow streamers, was dining at an upscale restaurant in Bangkok. During their stay, a stream sniper approached their table and to everyone's shock, he decided to strip down, revealing lingerie underneath. This bizarre scene immediately caught the attention of the restaurant staff, who warned the stream sniper about his inappropriate behavior. Despite the situation being incredibly uncomfortable, they continued to entertain and encourage this joke as if anything about it was funny. Things took an even more unbearable turn when Kim, seemingly caught up in the moment, suggested that Ice remove his own clothing and put on lingerie as well, hoping it would draw more views to their livestream. To the disbelief of literally everyone, Ice agreed.
You like that?
While one of the stream snipers stood guard at the door, Paul changed into the lingerie and began performing a lap dance for Kim. By this point, the restaurant staff have had enough. With their patience worn thin, the general manager confronted the group, expressing strong disapproval of their disrespectful behavior.
Who's this?
What happened? I'm a general manager here.
Oh, hey, what's up?
So what are you doing now? This is on the policeman 191, and I would like all of you to go to the police station now. If you are doing something like this, it's unrespectful for Thai culture.
No, we're not doing any of that.
You don't do.
No, it's not like that. We're not.
I see the photo, and all of them have CCTV.
The situation quickly escalated into an argument, with the tension growing to the point where the police had to be called to intervene. As if the incident couldn't get any more bizarre, another live streamer in the area entered the restaurant pretending to be Ice's lawyer in an attempt to get him out of trouble. Unsurprisingly, the plan failed.
Listen, I'm here as a lawyer, listen. I have to save Chris.
Hey, please, stop.
I came as a lawyer.
Hey, I don't know this. We don't know this.
Excuse me? Yes.
Can you please turn off your live stream?
Oh, no, it's not on, it's off.
After everything was said and done, Paul was charged with distribution of obscene content, a serious offense under Thailand's Computer Crime Act, carrying the potential penalty of up to 5 years in prison. This led to an apology video he posted on Twitter, and I don't know about you, but something about this footage reminds me of a terrorist hostage situation.
I wanted to make this video to apologize to Mrs. No Parats Poompa and the Buy Entry Hotel in Bangkok for the actions that I've done.
Following his arrest, Paul spent time in jail before being released on bail, which cost him $12,000. He waited 2 months before receiving permission to leave Thailand, and ultimately no charges were filed against him. Because of this, he received even more scrutiny from various people online. But at this point, I'm not even going to pretend that it had any effect on him. For all intents and purposes, it seems that any publicity is good publicity. Considering how narrowly he avoided a significant jail sentence for indecent behavior, one might think that Ice would have learned his lesson. Well, no. Just over a month after leaving Thailand, he found himself in trouble once again. In September, while live streaming in Australia, Ice and Sam Pepper, with whom he reignited the friendship, encountered an older stream sniper. The two streamers eventually came up with a genius idea of hiring an escort for this individual, hoping it would generate entertaining content for their viewers. To make matters worse, they intended to livestream the encounter.
Okay, that's my live stream.
Yeah, sure.
I'm Andy.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Had a good night tonight?
Yeah, I did.
As you can imagine, the event was incredibly awkward and completely inappropriate. If you are wondering, the answer is yes. The entire interaction was meant to be filmed, with the stream sniper attempting to convince the escort to keep her clothes on during their exchange. The reason is quite straightforward. They were worried that Kik might remove the stream for nudity if anyone were to undress. At this point, any sense of decency seemed to vanish the moment those doors were closed. The situation took an even more painful turn when the escort, who had agreed to offer her services, started receiving a flood of messages warning her about the large number of people watching the stream.
What's this about the guys you're messaging now? Guys are in the bedroom hiding watching a live stream. Sound from the speaker was the two guys in the bedroom. They're setting you up, by the way, if you leave.
I'll be set up for anything. I'm just gonna make love to you, that's all. And you can go for it.
These warnings made her feel uneasy, and the realization of what she has gotten herself into slowly began to sink in. Eventually, feeling increasingly uncertain about the entire setup, she decided to leave. And after all of this, you'll find it hard to believe that the worst part is yet to come. When Sam and Ice returned to the hotel, they were informed by the staff that the police were on their way in response to some sort of report. You can say that panic set in real fucking fast as the pair rushed to their room to gather their belongings and attempt to make a quick escape. However, upon returning to the lobby, they realized it was too late. The police had already arrived. Ice tried to play it cool and casually walk away, but this attempt to slip past unnoticed failed and he was stopped by the authorities.
What the hell is that?
Constable Georgia Gray from the Brisbane City Police Station. Mate, come over here. Okay, Constable Georgia Gray from the Brisbane City Police Station. You're both currently under arrest for sexual assault. So come and stand over here. Yes, seriously. So come and stand over here.
The arrest unfolded over several hours, after which it was revealed that the police response had been triggered by a false report made by one of the livestream's viewers. This incident, coupled with the controversial content of the stream itself, sparked more widespread criticism, but this time the backlash wasn't primarily directed at Ice Poseidon. Instead, much of the hate was aimed at Kick. The platform appeared to have almost no limits on what could be streamed, with its lax moderation policies allowing nearly anything to go unpunished. For someone like Ice, who seems to thrive on drama and pushing boundaries, this was arguably a perfect environment. Almost out of spite for everything that had happened, Paul decided to organize a jail livestream event, which was widely perceived as yet another provocative stunt. The concept was straightforward. Participants were confined to a small room and subjected to a series of challenges. The last person remaining would walk away with a prize of $50,000. For many onlookers, it felt like the same old story. Ice created a spectacle for his audience while simultaneously facing backlash over the ethical concerns surrounding such content. By this point, these kinds of controversies had become almost a tradition. This brings us to 2024, where Ice Poseidon continues to stream on Kick with no signs of slowing down. While his audience is smaller than during his peak years, it remains dedicated to his endeavor. Interestingly, he has occasionally collaborated with Amaranth, one of the biggest names in the online world.
He doesn't have the stamina for streaming, I would say.
He doesn't have the stamina for a lot of things.
Say what you will about the guy, but his resourcefulness is undeniable. Despite many scandals, Ice Poseidon remains one of those personalities who will never entirely disappear from the scene, always finding a way to linger in the background no matter how many times he's been kicked down. With that being said, it's clear that his best days are behind him. The explosive popularity he enjoyed in 2017 is now little more than a long-forgotten dream, a shadow of the cultural movement he once commanded. Despite his ongoing efforts to maintain relevance, the era of Ice Poseidon as a dominant force in streaming appears to be over, and it has been that way for quite some time now. How this saga ends is ultimately up to him, a narrative still unwritten and waiting for the choices only he can make. A lot can be said about the idea of putting your life online for the world to see, a concept that has been slowly evolving over the past 2 decades. And today, it stands at the forefront of many categories on streaming platforms. Even after everything we just saw, it's impossible to deny Ice Poseidon's pivotal role in popularizing this genre of content. In just 2 years, he transformed what was once a niche idea into a widely recognized form of entertainment, setting the stage for a new era of online interaction. By all accounts, Paul's contributions were indeed transformative. At the same time, his trailblazing efforts left behind a mixed legacy. For every career he helped launch, there were others that faltered under the weight of drama, excess, or controversy. His association with the chaos of the IP2 network, a breeding ground for debauchery, further complicates his narrative. Ice Poseidon's journey embodies the extremities of innovation and disaster. He is seen by some as a visionary who pioneered a new frontier in online entertainment, but by others as a figure whose downfall was marked by greed and self-destruction. His story mirrors the cynical nature of life and death, rise and fall, a pattern that seems to define not just human existence, but also the volatile careers of content creators. At this point, it's hard to imagine Paul Denino without streaming. For better or worse, it's the only life he knows, a medium that has both elevated and confined him. Once celebrated as an innovator, he eventually reached a point where he was willing to sacrifice credibility for quick payouts, a decision that will forever tarnish his online presence. How these decisions will shape his future remains uncertain. But one thing is for certain though, as long as he continues, people will be watching, commenting and debating his every move. Such is the nature of IRL streaming, a spectacle driven by those who thrive in the spotlight.